Good morning, Facebook. This is probably going to be one of 2 or 3 videos today because I have time and it's quiet. So good morning. This video is going to be about the incident that happened in Alabama with Carlethia Russell. I'm going to do another video about the girl that was in New Mexico that had the baby, that put the baby in the trash. I'll do that video second. And then I might do one more video. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's for this page or not. Or it may just be something that I keep to myself. Because I have an opinion about it, but it's not really relating to hidden horror, but it's kind of. So I'll probably talk about that. I'm not sure. So anyway, I want to read the story that the New York Post made about the incident. And the reason I chose the New York Post is because it's a reputable news outlet. And it's all over. So it's not just the New York Post. So local news and the reporters have reported this all over the place. I believe this incident happened Thursday. I'm not sure. When I heard about it, I just didn't have time because I'm busy with work and just my personal life. But I have time today, so I do want to talk about it. But when I initially heard about the incident with Carlee, they're abbreviating her name from Carlethia to Carlee, so I'm just going to call her Carlee. I'll refer to her as Carlee. When I heard about it, it was really disturbing because I think a lot of people, if they were in the same position and they were somewhere and they saw a small child alone, they would want to provide some kind of assistance or aid. I don't think the average person would walk away from a toddler or a small child, especially on the highway. You could easily get hurt, injured. You're alone. There's really no aid there. So I just want to, just preface what I'm going to say first there, that I think her actions were typical of the average person, especially woman, but I think also with the man that would stop and at least try to make sure that that child is safe and try to figure out what's going on, assess the situation, call 911. I think if everything that's being reported is accurate, the first thing that she did, she called 911 first, is what they're saying. And typically 911 will stay on the phone because if you're getting out of a vehicle, you've stopped and you've gotten out. Now you're trying to see if there needs to be some kind of aid rendered or help, or just to assess, look around, see what's going on in the situation. It's kind of odd that 911 did not stay on the phone with her. I guess they may have taken the report and maybe sent a car out to see what was going on. But I just thought that was quite odd that 911 did not stay on the phone. Because if there is some danger, if there is a need to have ambulance services, additional police, maybe other people are injured, if there's a ditch or somewhere you can't see, you will want to know that information. So you want to relay constantly that information, communicate it. So I think it's super odd that 911 didn't stay on the phone. But I do know that the 911 system is different for every county. But I thought that was a typical protocol to try to keep the person on the phone. But she wasn't in danger. But I do feel like there could have been unknown danger or some services needed, especially with a child underage. You just don't know. So it's unfortunate that if that's what happened, where 911 didn't stay on the phone, it's unfortunate that that's what happened. But to just move forward, she ended up calling a family member and being on the phone with them right after 911. So 911 should be dispatched, headed to where the location is, where she is. And she made a call to her family. And through that conversation, I guess she relayed to them that she stopped. She saw a toddler or a small child on the side of the highway. And then they hear a scream in the background, and the phone is still on. The line is still open. The call has not dropped, but they're no longer in communication with her. So that's kind of like what happened in a nutshell. There was a witness that said they saw a light gray car. They saw a man. I don't know what race. But I'm going to read to you what the New York Post wrote in the incident. So you can kind of hear that. And then I'll tell you what I think. To my knowledge, waking up today, she was found. She was found. Now, I have a lot of questions about that, but let me read to you what the New York Post wrote. And I've also posted it on my page. I've shared a couple of different articles just about the beginning, different instances. I wanted to do a local. I wanted to share a local news coverage first, and then I put what the New York Post put in. So, let's go. So, this article was written by Richard Paulina on July 16th at 2:27 a.m. The article was updated, so they could have changed some of the facts in the article. But let's go here. And if you are on my page, you can go below this post and you'll be able to find the article. And the name of the article is Alabama Woman Who Vanished After Stopping to Report Child on Highway is Found. If you put her name in on any search engine, Google, Yahoo, you'll be able to find this article by the New York Post. So, let's go for it. Reading is fundamental. Okay, so I don't know if that's better, whatever. The Alabama woman who vanished when she stopped to help a stranded toddler on a busy highway was found alive Saturday night. Carlee Nicole Russell, they put her whole name out there, 25, returned to her home in Hoover, Alabama before 10:45 p.m. The Hoover Police Department confirmed to WBRC. The outlet reported Russell, a nursing student, was dropped off at the residence and appeared to be in shock. She was transported to a local hospital for evaluation, according to police. Hoover is located roughly 10 miles south of Birmingham, the state's third largest city. So when I was in college, in my first year in college, I lived in Montgomery. And Birmingham was about 2 to 3 hours away from Montgomery. So Montgomery was considered a small city. But Birmingham by far was the big city in Alabama. So Hoover is located 10 miles south of Birmingham. So Birmingham has the airport for travel. And they're saying that it's the second largest city. So it's about 10 miles from Birmingham. So that gives me an idea like where it's located. But this is probably going to be a rural area. I'm not sure. Just never know. But I lived in a rural area. A small town. Okay. So Hoover police confirmed to the Post more details will be made available as they continue their investigation into where Russell has been during the 2-day disappearance. So she was missing for 2 days. 2 days is a long time. When I first heard about it, and I actually talked to some of my female cousins about what happened yesterday, because I attended a family event, and we all kind of said the same thing. They would help the child, not even considering that this could be a trap. But most of us felt like it could have been a trap. It could have been a setup. Some people felt like it was probably for trafficking, sex trafficking. I don't know if I can say that word, but most of us felt like it could be for trafficking. Okay, so I'm going to continue. Russell went missing on Thursday night when she went to help a wandering toddler on I-459, law enforcement told the outlet. She was reported on the phone with 911 at around 9:30 p.m. before speaking with her sister-in-law 6 minutes later when a scream was heard on Russell's end of the line before going silent. Okay, so she made the call to 911. After communicating everything with 911, she called her sister-in-law. So, police definitely need to interview the sister-in-law. They definitely need to look and see if there are any cameras. I mean, it's hard when it's a highway. But some cities and some places have cameras to catch license plates. And since they have a vehicle description, and she may have a vehicle description since she's alive, she may be able to help them with that. So they have some pictures of her, so I'm just scrolling down. Okay, we're almost done. Officers arrived just minutes later and found Russell's running car. So her car was still running. So that lets you know how quick it happened. Like, I think sometimes people don't realize, like, it doesn't take a long time to commit a crime. For example, if you wanted to try to, and I'm not saying this as an example, I'm just giving an example of time. If you wanted to take something, generally 30 seconds, 20 seconds, grab it, go. So I'm not surprised to hear, like, within those few minutes from calling 911 and the police arriving, she's completely vanished. Car still running. Like, you have to think that the intention, the focus was her, because they didn't steal the car, didn't turn off the car, and they probably didn't even go to the car. They didn't take her wallet. It wasn't a crime of a robbery, for example. It was to take her. That tells you that. So let me start over with that sentence. Officers arrived just minutes later and found Russell's running car, cell phone, and purse. Just like I said, she was the target. It was not her purse. It was not her cell phone. It was not a robbery. It was not to take her identity. It was to take her. Just from reading that, it's clear to me. Police were unable to find any sign of her or the child she reported. So what happened to the child? Was the child involved? Was the child used as a ruse to get the person to stop and then to take them? That's why I think a lot of people probably thought about trafficking when everything came out on Thursday. In the process, at some point, she got out of the car, and my daughter-in-law could hear her asking the child if they were okay. Carlethia Russell, Carlee's mother, told the outlet. Well, I can imagine her having to get out the car, because how do you approach a 2-year-old? You can't approach a 2-year-old rolling down the window and saying, "Excuse me, sweetheart, honey, are you okay?" You can't. You have to get at their level, which means you have to get out the car. You have to walk up to them, and you have to talk to them. They're 2 or small, pretty small. I don't know why I'm saying the child is 2, but it's a small child. So you have to communicate them, but physically close that distance. So that makes sense. I do believe she got out the car. Because if she had just sat in the car and waited for the police, I'm sure that fear would have been that child could have got into the street. So she had to engage the child. Even just getting the child, picking the child up and sitting it in her car would have been, potentially something that she could have thought of, but I don't think she had the time. That setup was, they're ready, the trap is set, and if somebody stops, grab and go. Get out of there. Now, the fact that light gray car was seen in that area, does that mean that another car then pulled up? Was it a trap where you have multiple people involved? You have somebody watching? and then somebody letting them know, hey, somebody's here, pull up now. Is this something that's happened regularly on the highways there? Because you have to think, the highways aren't going to really have cameras. So are you not in a neighborhood doing the trafficking where you grab somebody off the street? Because honestly, women, men also, but more so women, you could be going in your trunk and somebody could literally come behind you, push you inside your own trunk and close the hood. So we have to be so aware all the time. Try not to do a lot of things by yourself because it could happen in 10 seconds. You know, it's unfortunate, but we are kind of targeted and victimized because we are women. So we just have to be so careful, try to do things with somebody else. Always try to do things in the daytime. The fact that this happened at 9:30 at night, here is dark. I believe there it probably is close to dark. To even get out the car, and maybe that's what made her think, oh, let me call police. Let me call my family, let them know where I'm at and what I'm doing, because it's dark or it's getting dark. So does this person have any business stopping at this hour? Absolutely not. But the lure is the way you get attached to somebody to pull them in. You put that child out there, and she's in healthcare. She's a helper. She's a sister. She works with all kind of people. You know, she's a nursing student from what I read about her. So, but even still, the average person probably would have stopped to try to help. So with all of those things considered, it's just super sad what happened to her. There's a little bit more, and I'll read the last bit of it. But you just have to be careful. Okay, the child did not respond, or at least she did not hear her respond. He or she respond. And then she heard our daughter, Carlee, scream. And from there on, all we could hear was noise. Background noise in her phone, which we later found out was noise from the interstate. So that's just the noise of cars going by. That sound. A traffic camera video obtained by WBRC from Interstate 459 at mile marker 11.7 is believed to show Russell's car pulling over before she vanished. So if they saw her car pulling over before she vanished, can they find out if there was a light gray car that pulled over within those maybe 10 minutes? Because the call to 911, the call to the sister-in-law, they were 6 minutes apart. So this gray car would have probably pulled up within 10 or 15 minutes. Because that's how fast it happened. The police were there in minutes. So you're looking at a 10 to 15 minute maybe window to look and see for a light gray car. And, you know, if they have more details on the car, they can try to go through the video. Russell had just finished her shift at the Woodhouse Day Spa in Birmingham and stopped to pick up food for herself and her mother when she spotted the child. Russell estimated the toddler to be around 3 or 4 years old, Carlethia said. One witness told police they saw a gray vehicle parked near the scene. Parked, y'all. Parked. A gray vehicle parked. Set up, y'all. That's a trap. Saw a gray vehicle parked near the scene and saw a light complexion male standing outside Russell's car. According to Lieutenant Daniel Lowe of the Hoover Police Department. You know, crime does not stop. It's ever evolving. We have to be vigilant. We have to be strong. I think the best thing was for this community. They came together. They put out the word. Her face was plastered everywhere. Social media. The news picked it up. They let us know who she was, what happened, and I know they had got a $25,000 reward, and then they put up $5,000 for the Crime Stoppers. I know as far as I think today, Sunday, the award had got up to like 55,000. So they put all their resources into finding her, which is great. I just don't want to miss the main point, which is she called 911 first. That put them en route. They dispatched 911. She called a family member. That's important. She had them on the phone with her. So they had a time lapse. How much time difference? You know, how far could they get in 2-3 minutes on an interstate? Because there's exits. That gives them a window to look at video. They gave them a description of the car. It sounds like a setup. We don't know. The best thing is that she was found alive. And hopefully she'll be able to provide details, because if they can find the source, the person, it could be a whole enterprise behind that down there in Alabama. Trafficking, kidnapping women. I know I had posted a news clipping about maybe 3 weeks, a month ago, about how all of these kids in Ohio are missing. They don't know how, why. From just my knowledge, there had been a trafficking child ring from Michigan to Ohio. It's like a pipeline where they were taking kids and taking them to Ohio. So I guess Ohio has had so many missing kids, like in a 1 month period, like over 30 kids. And if you pay attention, you always see on the news every day a new picture of a child missing. So we just have to be very careful, and mainly try to stay on the phone with 911 for your own protection. If you can call a family member that can reach you, sometimes they can be quicker in some cities where there's not a lot of resources. Sometimes a family member can be quicker than 911. Maybe you can send out a mass text message. I'm at this location trying to do this. I'm on the phone with 911. It may take less than 30 seconds to send that message. If you can, maybe you can download an app to share your location with your family so people always know where you are. You can get one of those little Apple pods that can track where you are, and maybe not on your car but in your purse, because most people will carry their purse once they leave their car. So that's another way, just another safety tip. Don't be out late. If it's dark, you should be in, or you should be traveling with more than one person, not alone. For example, when I went out yesterday, I got dropped off and picked up. I didn't go out alone. Because I pretty much knew that I was going to be there till it was dark, and I didn't want to have to walk to a parked car by myself. Well, I wouldn't have walked to a parked car by myself. I had other people, and I even could have took a ride back with someone else, but I didn't want to slow them down because it was all women. So I want them to get in their house before it's dark, or as early as possible, before a lot of crimes that happen in the evening, because people feel they have coverage when it's dark. So just things like that. Just looking out for each other. If you're out and you're leaving a group, maybe text and say, hey, I made it home. Just checking on people, call them. Hey, did you make it home? Because, you know, if you're living separately, everybody has to, you know, go separately. And you can drive in groups. Sometimes I do that. I'll drive with my cousin or my sister. We'll all drive together. So there's just ways to kind of keep everybody protected and safe. So let's just thank the Lord that she made it and she came back. And maybe when, you know, things are better, she's out the hospital, they can sit down and ask her detailed questions about what happened, where did she go, where has she been for 2 days, does she remember the area, can she take them, can she trace the steps, how many people were involved, you know, did she stay in the state of Alabama, I don't know, But I think those are the questions. If it involves assault, can they see if there's any DNA? Can they do a test to see that? So it's just so many things. So I just want to encourage people not have a heart that helps, but try to be safe. I believe in carrying, so if you don't have your CPL, if you're of age, you should get it to protect yourself. I mean, who would have thought they would use a child to do this? But you know, you can't predict evil. You can't predict evil in the world, and just have to be vigilant and as smart as possible to protect yourself. So that's what this video was about, just giving some quick tips and sharing that story because it's an important story, and I hope that she comes out with details to try to figure out, bring those pieces of that puzzle together to figure out what happened and who was behind it. So thanks for checking out this video. I'm going to do a video next on the young lady from New Mexico that put her newborn baby in the trash. Okay, have a great Sunday. Bye.